Hello and welcome back to the Martingale Emerging Media Minute or Two. This week we're going to be talking about the news and how it exists in the new emerging media formats, specifically through social media and online news. Just a few decades ago, news was almost exclusively received through broadcast television or print newspapers, whether that was the daily news or weekly news. However, now many Americans receive their news online or through social media platforms. This has been really apparent recently in a study that showed that young kids and teenagers, basically Gen Z, receives a lot of their news from TikTok rather than even Googling information. One important change as the news format has changed from print and television cable news to more so online is that there's been an absence of local news, and local news coverage as a whole has generally disappeared. This is really harmful because this gap opens up where people are not receiving more facts about the events happening around them and are instead getting sensationalized national news. A piece written by the Center for Information Technology and Public Life says that local news is disappearing, leaving an information vacuum that allows fake news to permeate. We've talked a lot about fake news in these videos, specifically when it comes to COVID-19. However, we're going to shift that a little bit to talk more so about the 2016 election. A study by Guo and Vargo found that the fake news in the 2016 election shifted in favor of Trump, and it did so by following the same agenda as real, factual, legitimate news. This made it harder for people to really separate what was true and what was false because it was covering the same topics. It also allowed people to pick and choose what information was most convenient for their already established opinions. It did not do the same as much for Hillary Clinton. Another important finding is that the fake news in the 2016 election was created in large part on the affective dimension or the affective level, which means that it was created to have an emotional reaction from audiences. This is really important to look at because affective level information is more likely to influence opinions. And Donald Trump ended up unexpectedly winning this election. All of the polls and predictors indicated that Hillary Clinton was going to win on election night. And so when you look at this fake news, you can kind of get more of an understanding of how he was able to pull off the win. Part of the reason that I think fake news is able to become so prominent on social media sites is because who is creating the news and who is gatekeeping the news is changing. In a paper by Groshek and Tandock, they studied how 3 different categories of news producers are able to pick up reactions and interactions on Twitter. They studied this in terms of mentions, retweets, follows, everything along those lines. So they looked at legacy news, non-legacy news, and non-journalist. Now, the legacy news had by far more followers than the other 2 categories. However, they were not getting the same difference in terms of retweets and likes and interactions with their content. There was really no separation between non-journalists who were able to get the same traction on Twitter with what they were producing. Part of the reason that they explain this is because legacy journalists do not follow nearly as many accounts and they do not interact with those accounts. Twitter is all about algorithms, and so interacting with other accounts makes it so that you are more likely to be put out on other people's feeds. One type of company that I think really understands this is fast food restaurants who create these marketing accounts where their social media managers will tweet back at customers and tweet back at other accounts and other companies, and it puts it on my feed. I will never look up Taco Bell or McDonald's or somebody like that on Twitter. However, they come up on my feed because they're getting traction. I'm not suggesting that legacy news becomes, full of memes or entertainment content. However, the article does suggest that they become maybe more open to interacting with other accounts. They can still be very selective. However, there's no reason why they can't quote tweet politicians or respond to people in comments. As this article points out, people such as activists are able to put out their content and get a lot more traction without having to become a member of legacy news. This is super helpful when trying to give traction to social movements. However, it is used to also spread fake news because people without the qualifications or the correct information can tweet out blatant nonsense and also get that same traction. So in summary for this week, the media landscape, as we all know, has been shifting so much. And there really are benefits of this, as I've explained. However, fake news is still able to permeate, and it's hard to come up with a solution for this other than just generally improving digital literacy. My challenge for you this week is to find a non-legacy account or just a non-journalist account and look at their feed and see what kind of information they're putting out. Maybe an activist or a professor or someone along those lines. And if you like it, give them a follow. That's all. I'll see you next week.